issues.
Jason Johnson is a former congressional campaign manager, and he joins me now from Atlanta. Jason, thank you very much for making it on the show. Now we're down to the wire. What needs to happen, or what can happen, to break the stalemate?
Well, what would require is for the Senate to either agree to what the House has just handed up to the upper chamber, or more likely we're going to end up having a government shutdown. There's little or no chance that there can be a negotiation at this point because the opposing party, the Republicans, have made it very clear they'd rather shut down the government than allow the president's health care plan to go forward.
All right, Jason, you're not as optimistic as President Barack Obama. Well, it's not known how long this partial shutdown will go for. Just paint for us what would be the worst case scenario.
The worst case scenario is this goes past 3 or 4 weeks. The last major shutdown in the late 90s, the mid to late 90s, was about 28 days. We had 2 of them. This could go longer because once the government shuts down, once 800,000 people are out of work, once students and veterans and everyone else is affected, it's very likely that the president will say, you know what, we're going to hash all of this out now. We're going to do the debt ceiling. We're going to do government loans. We're going to set all of this down because I'm not going to spend the next 3 years of my presidency having budget fights every 3 or 4 months. So I think this is going to be a long shutdown.
You have to wonder, though, what is the real motive of this stalemate? Now, it does seem to be a real reflection of the bipartisanship that's plagued the Obama administration since President Obama got into office in 2008. How do you see this possible shutdown affecting either party or either side?
Well, it has a bigger impact on the Republican Party because what's happening here is, unfortunately, this is not gridlock. This is not that the two parties can't get along. This is a civil war within the Republican Party. You have some Republicans in the lower house who say that President Obama is not legitimate and it's their job to stop any part of his agenda. And you have other members of the Republican Party who say, look, this is a fight that we can have during midterm elections in 2014. And while they're fighting each other, the rest of America suffers. So unfortunately, the biggest consequences hit the entire country, but the political consequences are going to hit the Republicans.
Jason, just very briefly, we are running out of time. Could you just detail for us what is it that the Republicans are opposed to when it comes to this health care program?
They're opposed to the fact that it was President Obama's idea. I mean, that's pretty much what it is. Mitt Romney ran yesterday under the idea that this health care plan would destroy the U.S. economy. And there's some questions as to how it'll impact the economy, but the Republicans insist that it's a disaster and it has to be stopped. Democrats and many analysts have said the impact isn't clear. We'll have to see what it looks like when it gets implemented.
All right, Jason, thank you very much for speaking to us. Jason Johnson, their former congressional campaign manager in Atlanta.